We're back in Oakland, Alabama, here at Oakland High School. It's a Thursday, and we're talking about leadership, leading the pack, here on today's episode of Go Wildcats with head coach Ryan Hall. All right, Coach, so we continue this specific talk about kind of daily operations. We know the culture, the expectation of who you're going to be, but what does it look like day in, day out? And one of the things that is a necessary component of that has to be leadership, not just y'all leading your team, but how do they grow into leaders? Let's talk about that for a moment.
Absolutely. I think it's, in order to overachieve, what we call overachieve, exceed those expectations, outperform our ability, there's no doubt leadership is critical in that. I think it's the difference maker in, being an average team to a good team to a great team. And so that's something we certainly want to develop. And I think a lot of times leadership's misdefined, or, I've heard coaches say, well, we just don't have any leadership. Well, you got to develop it. And, it starts with conversations early on and teaching a process. So we try to have a very systematic or strategic way that we want to teach leadership and talk about leadership. And so we kind of have 4 steps in it, and we really take these steps, talk to our players about, you're going to take these steps as you go through this program. The first one is, and the most important one is serve. Leadership is about other people. It's always going to be about other people. It's not about you and it's not about me. It's about taking other people where they want to go or where they think they can't go. And so it starts with service. And, a lot of our young kids, our 7th graders right now, they're not in a point where they can do much more than serve as leaders. So, it's hard for them to tell a senior what to do when you're 12 years old, but they can serve every day. And so service starts at the second phase of communication. There's a kind of a myth that you can just be I'm just a leader by example. I just think you got to talk. I think you got to be willing to communicate, not just talk, but listen, and then have great body language, especially in the bad moments. We had some times this summer where during our boot camp phase, it was tough and hot and miserable. They rolling in sand. And how's your body language in that? Are you leading in that moment? And so, we need more guys to step up in those moments. It's easy to tell people to get in line, when there's not a lot of difficulty going on. But can you go and push a guy when it's hard, when things ain't going your way? That's the question. So we want to serve, and then we got to communicate. And then the next one is motivate. And the only way you can motivate is to know people. You got to get to know your teammates. You got to get to know what makes them tick. We as coaches have to know what the players, what gets them excited, because there's a lot of guys that need they need a foot in the rear end, and then there's some guys that need an arm put around them. And there's everything in between. And as a player, you got to know that. You got to know which guys. And as a coach, you got to know that. So we encourage our guys to spend time together, build that camaraderie so they know. So you got to serve, you got to communicate, you got to motivate. And the last one is the most powerful one in my opinion, and that is inspire. Back to that lead by example, that's how you lead by example. You inspire people by how you act, how you behave, how you handle things, especially in the tough moments. How do you handle things when things don't go your way? Do you inspire people? And a lot of our, if you break it down on a kind of a thing, young guys are in that serve phase. Just come in and serve, man. Be about other people. Try to make them better. As you get a little bit older, communicate. Start talking. You can tell, hey, get in line, man. You're supposed to be in line. You know how we do things. You kind of graduate into that. As you get a little bit older, you can start to motivate. You might could go over and get on a guy and him respond to it because you've earned that right with how you've done things. And then the last and the biggest one is inspire. You get a senior that shows up every day. He's had success on the field. He's a great student. He lives above the bar. He's baggage free. He can be such an inspiration to not just players but coaches. We have players all the time here that inspire me. I'm inspired by our kids right now because how many kids in this world are willing to show up at 6:50 in the morning in the heat and do what they're doing? Not many. I hear a lot of people criticize kids. Well, they're this, they're lazy, they're always. Well, we got 50 of them that are showing up here doing some great things, and I'm proud of them for that. So they inspire me, but that's leadership for us. Serve, communicate, motivate, and inspire, and that's kind of our process of teaching it.
Wonderful. Very, very good. Keep watching. We'll have Player Spotlight talking more about leadership. On the other side of that, we'll talk about defense for this season. All right, today on our Player Spotlight, we are with Gage Blanton, 74, offensive lineman and a junior on the team. Gage, thank you for taking the time to join us today. Let's talk leadership, leading the pack. What does that concept mean to you, the team?
Well, as a leader of the team, it's more about being able to communicate thoroughly with your team and trying to understand what the problem is and what's stopping you from being able to achieve greater things. Like, for example, the earlier days of before boot camp, like spring even, I remember you would hear me yelling at people just all the time, because I thought that's how you lead. You know, you always see the big bad person just yelling and stuff like that. And Coach Hall had brought me into his office and said, "Son, there's two ways you can hammer in a nail. You need to take that hammer one time and knock it in right there, or you can just take it and tap it in." And he said, "If you was the nail, which one would you rather have done to you?" I said, "Well, obviously, I'd like to be tapped in. You know, I don't want to be knocked in one good time." And I just thought that taught me so many things, not only about leadership, but just a lot of things that have to do with life and stuff like that.
Awesome. Well, that's a great observation and great story. Appreciate you for sharing that with us. As we wind down here a little bit lighthearted direction here. I heard about this bus trip to Georgia. Maybe some impersonations of Michael Jackson, the Bee Gees, the classics. Give us a little clip here.
You want the Bee Gees?
That'll be great.
The Bee Gees? Let's go with Staying Alive. Hear from the top. Well, you can tell by the way I use my voice, I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Music loud, speakers on.
All right.
I'll save the rest.
Okay, you'll save it. All right. Thanks, Gage. We appreciate your time and for your leadership and for all that you do for the team. Final words?
Go Cats.
All right, so today as we talk defense, we're here with Coach Ben Painter, defensive coordinator for your Oakland Wildcats. Coach, thank you for taking the time to join us.
Appreciate it.
Today.
Thank you.
We are talking today about leadership, not just y'all's leadership of the players, but especially how you're trying to help them grow into leaders. Tell us a little bit about your perspective on that.
Well, to start, this summer in June, we've had our boot camp. I'm sure that people know about that. It's been a great month, but the theme of the whole boot camp was who will you become? And so we gave out dog tags at the end of it, and the whole theme of it was put these guys in situations where they have to lead. So they have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And so we've put them in all kind of different leadership roles. Maybe some that were quiet, that normally wouldn't say much, or we would make them lead part of their team and do different exercises with them. And then we've kind of seen that go from on the field to in the locker room, and then it's progressed onto the football field, which has been really interesting to see and really cool to see. So it's been a really good June, and that's sort of the way we've approached that.
Awesome. That's very, very good to hear. Let's talk now defense. Give us kind of the big picture about what you're looking at on the field this year, and maybe even a few guys we should be aware of.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to be in our base 4-2-5 slash hybrid 3-4 like we've been in the past. We're going to stay that. We're going to try to always promote being physical like we always do, run to the football. One thing that is good, we've got a young team that's coming back, and last year we had a veteran team, a bunch of seniors. Now we've got a bunch of 9th and 10th graders that are going to fill some roles with a few seniors mixed in, and they've all seemed to fit their roles pretty good so far through the summer. Like, for example, Trace Cagle, he played a little bit last year but got hurt. He was one of our will linebackers. He's going to take the role of the Mike linebacker this year, and he's a exceptional leader on and off the field. A lot of the kids look up to him, and to be such a young guy, that's really a good quality for him. So he kind of commands a lot of respect out there on the field, and he's also a really good player. So I look for some good things for him especially. Another one is Tyler Thomas. Tyler has played for us as a freshman last year, and he did a phenomenal job. Actually, as an 8th grader, he's done a phenomenal job. So he's a really young guy. We're going to have him for 4 years, and he's going to play safety and walk down and play some nickel for us.
Yeah.
He's been he's a quiet leader. He's not a very vocal guy. So we've put him in some situations this summer that has kind of put him in practice on the field where he's had to speak up, and he's actually accepted that role pretty good. So he's doing a really good job. He's kind of the quarterback of the back end for us. And then as far as a whole, those two guys were really, but Aaron Hanley, as far as the defensive line, he's going to be another guy that's going to really fill a big spot for us. He's going to be a real physical guy. And Aaron's another one of them quiet leaders. He really doesn't say much. And we're trying to get him more vocal as well, but he's done a really good job as well.
That's fantastic. That's great to hear. We look forward to seeing you guys on the field this fall. So anything else you want to say?
Just look forward to everybody being out on Friday night, and go Wildcats.